Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be taking you behind the scenes on an outdoor interview, and not just one outdoor interview, but 4 outdoor interviews. We're all doing them at the same location. And the main theme of today's video is really gonna be showing you how to change up your framing in the same area. So if you're doing multiple interviews at the same location, how do you make them different and how do you make them unique and truly take advantage of the area that you end up filming at? So we've spaced out the interviews so that we have about 30 to 45 minutes between each of the setups. So that gives us enough time to kind of change it up, figure out where we want to move to next, and then move all of the equipment and kind of get the setup all dialed in before the talent gets here and gets on camera. So without further ado, let's get to the first interview of the day. The sun's moving quick. All right, so I want to take you guys through this first setup real quick and kind of show you what we're working with here. So fundamentally, just like any lighting setup, we have a key side and then we have kind of a shadow negative side. So what we're doing on the key side is we have an 8x half silent grid that the sun is shining through, and we just have that on 2 combo stands. And on the other side, we just have a normal 5x1 photography bounce type thing that has the negative on it. And on camera, just like all of them today, we're shooting on the FX6. For this setup, we're on the 35 G Master. We're gonna be changing it up today, but for this one, it is 35. And then we're using the Rode NTG3 for audio, just like all of the setups today.
Okay.
I'm Johnny, by the way.
Johnny, I'm Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we're about to start rolling on the first interview of the day. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so I want to take you guys through the second setup of the day. One little point to mention real quick is have snacks on set, especially for longer days. This isn't a super long day still, but we're outside in the heat. It's good to have snacks. So we have some homemade banana bread here.
Sam, can you grab a stand for me?
It is going to save the day when you have this kind of stuff on set. Okay, so we're at the next setup here. We moved all of about 10 feet roughly, and it's a completely different frame. Again, a big theme of this video is just really trying to figure out how you can change up different frames in the same area, same location. So for this setup, again, we're using the same 8x8 half silent grid as kind of the key light coming in. And then we have a negative that's just that 5x1 flex. And then also we needed a little bit more kick in this frame light-wise on the shadow side. So we just used another one of those 5x1 sort of white photography bounces just to add a little bit of kick light in there on the shadow side. Camera lens again, FX6, and then we're shooting 35 again. Real quick guys, just wanna say if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're gonna be doing a lot more of these videos in the future. Now back to the video. All right, so we're on the third interview of the day. It is going really smoothly. We're basically right on schedule for the entire day. A big tip is to make sure that you have enough time budgeted for the setups, for moving around. And if you can, give yourself a little bit of a buffer. And hopefully you don't need the buffer, so you just have more time and you're running early on everything. So the first 2 setups were at the same location, very, very close proximity. We figured it was time to move a little bit, so we shifted about, I don't know, 200 feet down, a little bit away from the river. And so now we're kind of in a more of a forest wooded area. And again, we're using the 8x diffusion to basically just act as a key light. Sun's going right through it. So again, have the negative, have the key, that's the 8x, and then rocking the 35mm G Master with the FX6. One thing to mention is that we are using those little stools that are just absolutely a lifesaver for outdoor interviews, outdoor video shoots. We basically always bring them. And obviously the first 2 interviews, we didn't need it because we had the bench, but now that we're kind of in the middle of this foresty area, there's nowhere to sit. And so they're like $20 on Amazon. Buy yourself a few. I'll try and link them in the description below. They are a lifesaver. All right, last setup, 4 of 4. We are again ahead of schedule, which is awesome. Sometimes that's not the case, but we are ahead of schedule. So we're kind of just chilling, hanging out, waiting for the talent to get here. What we did for this last setup is essentially just picked everything up and rotated it 180 degrees. So third setup was basically facing this way, and then fourth setup is facing this way. You'll see framing wise, they basically look like completely different frames. Can't really tell, in my opinion, that they're like at the same location or done in the same spot. So again, it kind of adds to the production value. It maybe looks like you spent more time and went to different locations and all of that stuff. I would say anytime that you're doing multiple interviews in the same location, really try and change it up a little bit. Just move a few feet, turn the camera a little bit, and make it look different. Don't get comfortable with just staying in the same location and having all of your interviewees pop into the same seat, same spot, same frame. Change it up a little bit. So let's get into this last setup here. It's kind of cloudy right now, but we're planning for the sun to come back out by the time the talent gets here. So again, 8x8, half silent, sun shining right through, giving a nice amount of diffusion, but still enough kick that it looks like a key light, or it looks like the sun is shining on without seeing like super, super harsh light on the person's face. We're rocking the 35. We're just using the 35 for everything. We're keeping the frame sort of the same from head to waist roughly, and same focal length, just to kind of keep it a little bit uniform, but then also change it up, like I said before, with kind of frame left, frame right, depending on the person. Common theme for all of these, again, is that we always have a negative of some type, especially when you're dealing with just using natural light. We don't have any powered lights. It's really, really important to be able to shape the light that is out here, because at the end of the day, you want some depth and some shape on the person's face that you're interviewing, and when you don't have lights, then you just use negative, and that's how you kind of shape the light that is out here already. So always utilize negative in some way, especially when you're doing an outside or natural light interview. All right, so we just wrapped the 4th interview. Now we're just packing up gear. Couple points to go through real quick. So the first and most important point, when you're in one location and doing multiple interviews, get creative, spend that extra time to change stuff up, change the angle, literally just pan the camera 180 degrees and you have a whole new frame. No matter where you're at, I mean, obviously we're at a good location here, but no matter where you're at, you can get creative and take advantage of sort of the different positions that you can be at with your different interview subjects. The second point is when you are doing multiple interviews on the same day, make sure that you're budgeting enough time between the setups and between the new talent coming in and arriving. The talent arrived, and then there was about a 15-minute buffer from when the interview was supposed to start. So basically the talent wasn't expecting to get there and start immediately. They had about 15 minutes to chat with our client and our producer and kind of get squared away on how to go through the interview and what questions they were going to be going over. And that also gives us as the production team a little bit of extra time to set up, make sure everything's dialed in, and not be super rushed. And overall, even though we did 4 interviews today over, not a ton of time, it really didn't feel rushed, and it felt like we had really enough time to, get a unique setup for each of these specific interviews. The last point is regarding lighting. When you are using just natural light, we obviously didn't use any powered lights for this. Take advantage of negative and really get good at using negative to help shape the shadow side of someone's face that you're interviewing. Obviously, you don't want a flat image. You don't just want sun front on diffused and just kind of like a flat, boring image and boring face. So use shadows. Use shadows. It is really easy and it's cheap. Just buy a 5x1 bounce or a piece of Duvetine from Amazon for 10 bucks and you have a really good tool in your bag that you can use for just about any interview setup. That does it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments below. Peace.